Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0 Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Ooh, welcome back to the 3-0 Take presented by SeatGeek. This is episode 494. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin. I'm here with my co-host, Nate Reyes. Nate.
Hiya there. Doubling up, huh?
I mean, when's the last time we've gotten a chance to talk about the A's in a positive light? Much less an off season when we've got to talk about the A's, because the only time you talk about teams during the off season is when they're either, spending money or making trades. We're talking
not
about
super
the A's.
Thrilled with the fact that you can't even find your polo.
The Billy Bean polo, yeah. It's. Meredith might have burned it. She might have.
I'd like to think that that's got to be like a within reach at all times.
I thought it was right here on the table next to me where I left it, but it's gone. Meredith
got that thing strapped.
Might have thrown it away. Might have burned it.
That's not good.
I don't know, but
I don't appreciate that.
What I do know is we're talking about the A's in the offseason, and what a day. What a day for the A's.
This is a crazy day.
This is a monumental day for the Oakland.
I was a little shocked when I saw that.
Sorry.
That
was not intentional. Promise.
Lawsuit.
Promise. The A's. The Athletics. Lawsuit. Monumental day for the A's. Joking aside, you're going to have to help me with that. Like, that's going to take some time to get used to, not just dropping Oakland A's. Like, cut me some slack.
It's weird that we can't even say Sacramento either.
Can't say it. They don't want it. They don't want Sacramento A's. You know what they do want, though? They want Luis Severino, and they went out and got him. The richest deal in A's history at $67 million. I'll say that again. The richest deal in A's history at $67 million. I've got broke on the brain.
It's a Freudian slip for sure.
I've got broke on the brain. $67 million to Luis Severino. What are your thoughts here, man? I mean, we can make jokes, but we can point to the fact that it's taken them quite literally 20 years to do this.
Yeah.
But they did it, I feel like this is something you had to do with the whole move to Sacramento, eventual possible move to Vegas situation. This is I think where you had to start at the very least. What are your thoughts?
I was trying to confirm. There's an opt-out after year 2, I believe,
Year
right?
2, yes.
That makes me feel a lot better. I was going to say I didn't love it. Now I really love it. And here's why. Because I thought the opt-out was after year 1. And why I love it, having the opt-out after year 2, is because they basically saw an opportunity to, in my opinion, buy a nice little prospect haul if he's successful before the trade deadline. This is an investment to your farm system. That's how I see this. It's this is like a no-lose situation in my mind. Because let's say he doesn't have a very good first half. Let's say he kind of regresses after 2024. At least you can look at the A's and be like, you know what? I'm proud of you for going for it. I don't think there's anybody out there that's going to hate on this deal. You say, you know what? You went for it. You saw an opportunity and you paid up. And he got over what a lot of predictions said he was going to get.
Yeah, I meant to look it up. What was he pegged to get?
Not that.
No. Well, you have to overpay if you're the Oakland. If you're the A's.
See, but that's the thing is that
you have to overpay.
I think these estimations are wrong. I really do.
No,
I think a lot of people. I think a lot of these guys are getting are going to be getting higher contracts in these estimations.
Well, at least from a pitching standpoint,
The
and
starting pitcher pool.
yeah,
I should say.
that's mostly what we've seen go thus far, like sort of like the middle tier guys. But in this case, I don't know if it was necessarily the estimate was wrong. I think it was more, again, the fact that the A's were going to have to overpay, because ultimately who's choosing to sign up for this unless you're getting well over what you were expected to get.
Yeah, I mean, I understand, and not to mention he's going to pitch in a minor league ballpark, which is much smaller than what Oakland was.
They had him projected at 3 years, $51 million.
Yeah, so that's a good chunk over. But
16 million.
Kind of rounding out my point here, I think the reason I like so much at the opt-out is that after the second year is because if he does have a successful first half and you decide, we're out of it, as the A's typically are around that time of year, and they ship him out of town, you're not just selling a rental. This isn't a 1-year deal that, you're signing a veteran to that you can get something at the deadline for. You're sending this guy for 1.5 years, possibly 2.5 years, if he decides to, pick up that option. So I really like this. I like it for Severino. I like it for the A's. And I like it for whatever team is potentially buying in at that deadline. And in reality, what is it? $10 million signing bonus. I like that. What does that break out to? Like 22-ish? Yeah, 22 and change per year. Also, I think I read somewhere that the A's are trying to get to $100 million payroll.
Yes.
This year. That's the goal.
Yeah, trying to ramp it up to 100 million by the end of this offseason, correct?
That's what I thought, like going into 2025. That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I read. I'm a fan.
And look, like this isn't some bit on the Severino thing, at least for me. I won't speak for you, but like go back to the start, and we just went over this when we did our look back on our hot takes once the year was over. It was just a couple episodes ago, and we went back to the didn't see this coming award or something like that, and I'd put Severino's name into the mix in terms of like, this is something, I'm just keeping an eye on Severino. This is going to be something that a lot of people aren't going to see coming down the pipe. Giving him props before the season started, been like, this, I think this is going to, maybe not a breakout year, but like this is going to be some sort of or somewhat of a bounce back for Severino. Mm-hmm. And I think he upheld his end of the bargain in that regard.
Yeah. And I think he is making money that he earned, because
I agree.
There was flashes, really, really good flashes with the Yankees. And I've always been a fan. I've always had that inkling that he was going to succeed after he left. Couple injury stints, but like overall, I think the ceiling is pretty high. I think he can be better than what he was in 2024. I think he has more in the tank.
Yeah, I would agree.
So this is like a building block. 2024 with the Mets was like a confidence boost. Like, hey, I still got it. I think I can tap into what I used to be. And now he's going to do it in Sacramento, potentially finishing the year somewhere else for a relatively friendly trade number. I mean, I think, what would that, he'll be at like 10 million for the rest of the year if someone trades for him. And then owe him the 22 and change the next year. So this is a smart deal. I'm actually really impressed with the A's. The more I talk about it, the more impressed I get.
I'm still fixated on the numbers, if I'm being honest. The 67 million being the largest.
That's pretty sad.
Guaranteed deal in franchise history. But like I said, yeah, I mean, what's done is done. but the fact that, they're starting out this next chapter with a move such as this, I like it. And it's not a move that, like, they didn't just go out and recklessly sign like Max Fried and be like, okay, there's our guy. Like, are you happy now, fans? We went out and spent money. No, like, this is, I say what you will about ownership, the front office, what have you, but I feel like this was like you were saying, this was a smart baseball move. Like, like, if it doesn't go the way you hope for on the field as a team, there's a route you can take with Severino. If it does go well, there's a route you can take with Severino. So, like, this wasn't, reckless spending. This was again, you probably overspent a little bit, but you had to, because again, who's signing up for the athletics experience right now? Not many, if any. So you're going to have to spend a little bit more. And, I think this will work out for both parties.
I really love the structure of this deal. I love the opt-out after year 2 move. Like, I would copy and paste this. I could look at a bunch of other teams across the league and say, you can very much copy and paste this deal, this structure, with a bunch of other names on the free agent list. I really like this. Like, to me, I think we all saw what the Blake Snell thing was going to be. The opt-out after year 1 was a no-duh kind of thing. If anything, like, shame on the Giants. Shame on the Giants for not moving him. So, whatever. I was reading through the article. The Eric Chavez deal was the prior record holder for the A's. What's crazy is that at the $66 million, it was a 6-year deal.
Correct. Yeah, and then for a 3-year deal, the largest total that, or the highest total that they had spent on a 3-year deal was for Billy Butler, which was $30 million.
Good old Billy.
So they more than doubled their largest. The last time they spent this much money on a 3-year deal, more than doubled it.
Yeah. I wonder where else. I mean, they still got a long way to go. They still, I think this is, I don't know overall payroll, what they're looking at, but I think they're only in like the 50s right now. So they still, like, if the goal is to get to 100, they still got a lot more to do. And I think it's tough because I don't know if the arbitration deals have been put into those current numbers yet for some of the contract websites.
Their payroll this past season was $47.2 million.
Yeah. So I think after the arbitration deals get done, they're like in the 50s, close to 60 at the moment without any other signings. So go get an Anthony Santander. You won't.
Don't push the buttons, Nate. Let's not get carried away now. Like, I think baby steps are to be applauded here, but I don't think that we need to be taking leaps like Santander. Good for Sevy for going out and getting his bag, but let's leave a guy like Santander for the rest of the league to choose.
Go get you a bat. Bregman is on the market. Go get him.
Okay. Yeah, and while you're at it, just round out the rotation. Go get Fried. Go get Burns.
There you go. Get it done.
Trade for Crochet.
Good.
Trade for Sale even.
Good.
Why not get a Cy Young winner in that rotation?
Build it
Why
up
not?
quick. What's crazy is that they can, if they really wanted to.
What do you think? I mean, what do you think it would take to get Ohtani in Oakland? Excuse me, Sacramento.
Stop saying it.
I've already slipped up 3 times.
Yeah, it's not good. We're just now 15 minutes into this thing. Figure it out.
All right. Well, that's enough on the Oakland A's. Kudos to the A's. Big time stuff. Big time stuff there for the A's. What's not so much big time is Aroldis Chapman landing in Boston. I hate it. I don't like it, and I wish it never happened. That's sort of my thoughts. If you were hoping for my thoughts on Aroldis Chapman to the Red Sox, those are my thoughts.
On a baseball sense, are you somewhat happy?
No.
Come on.
I'm not. I mean, yeah,
On a baseball sense.
He's got good strikeouts, swing and miss stuff. That's we know this. But just as easily, he can cost a game for you. We've seen it. He's been memed time and time again because of it.
You're not wrong.
In the biggest spots. Not saying he has to be perfect, but it's also Aroldis Chapman. Like, read the room, Boston. Read the room. There's just certain guys you just don't go after. You know? That would be like the Red Sox going out and getting Manny Machado. You know? It's like, no, read the room. You don't want to bring in a guy who ended arguably one of the most fan favorite players in Dustin Pedroia. You don't want to, and whether or not you want to say he actually ruined Dustin Pedroia's career is another thing. But it's like a read the room situation. You're not going to go out and get a guy like Manny Machado, and you certainly should not have gone out and gotten a guy like Aroldis Chapman. That's just, to me, that's common sense, but maybe they're looking past that and going, you know what? Like, we need to fill some holes. I just wish, however, they would have filled the hole, or holes plural, if they were hoping to get more bullpen help, was again Tanner Scott. I feel like that's a target for a lot of teams, but if it comes back to this belief that the Red Sox are going to be spending, and we'll touch on it with the Soto thing, but it's like, okay, if that's the case, if we're opening up the checkbook, why are we settling for a guy like Aroldis Chapman?
Yeah,
why not just spend the extra few $1,000,000 and go get a guy like, or how, whatever it ends up being AAV wise, go out and get a guy like Tanner Scott.
You bring up a good point. And I think that's one of the biggest bugaboos that I saw with this deal is that, like, again, we're seeing names that should typically fall towards the back end of free agency going right now. But I agree. Like, if the Red Sox are going to come out and say we're going to spend, I don't understand the 1-year veteran, probably set up occasional save role. Like, I don't understand that.
Yeah, I mean, if Liam Hendricks is your guy coming into 2025, which all signs point to that,
yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. If that's the case, you can assume that with friend of the pod Liam Hendricks's injury history and all of that Chapman is going to have to eventually step in,
sure,
for the occasional save, and may even end up with more saves than some people might anticipate, depending upon how things go. But
would you rather have seen like Kenley come back?
No, I hate to say it, but with the way things ended there, it just left a real sour taste in my mouth. I just was not a fan of it. He already had a foot out the door, it seemed, and was just I don't know. I was pleased with what he did for us over the multiple years that he was in Boston, but I was happy to close that door. And it was really more of a bridge. At least this year, I think people were viewing this year as a bridge to get to Liam anyway, because Liam was recovering, and they're going, okay, what Kenley's been doing for us is great, and he had a good year overall. But I think people were looking at that with the assumption that this isn't his job in 2025, and I think he looked at it that way as well.
Yeah, but like I said, I mean, I don't really fully understand the. We're gonna spend, you're putting it out there that you're in on all these free agents, and they still may very well land some of these guys. It's just it's an odd move to me when you're talking about spending. There's better relievers out there. Is there like an underlying Yankee jab that's trying to happen here? Like I'm a little lost on like the overall timing of the decision. I understand this if it's January 25th and most of the big names are gone. You've already spent some money on some guys. This is like a filler deal. It's just odd to me. That's all. With,
again, to touch on the Soto thing, if your plan as the Boston Red Sox was to sort of lay a foundation this offseason, this free agency of saying like, hey, we're going to show you that we're serious. We're going to go out and make some preemptive moves here. Talking to Soto, of course, and being like, hey, we're serious about this. We're already in the process of, I mean, the youthful talent that we've already got, we're good there. We're set.
Yeah.
But we want to take the extra step, show you that we are serious about acquiring you, and we're gonna go out and sign a frontline starter, maybe two, and then think about whether or not this is a good fit. Instead of doing that, they went out and got a guy like Aroldis Chapman, which who's to say? I mean, we may wake up tomorrow and get the news that Max Fried's coming to Boston, and maybe this is all for naught. But I just feel like there would have been a better way to go about it. And better names to go about it with. But I understand though, if even some of these pitchers, because some of them are Boris clients, if it's all dependent upon Soto first. So maybe that's not even a realistic scenario. Maybe you can't go out and get a guy like Burns or something because you have to wait for the Soto domino to fall. I don't know, but I just wish wish it was anybody else except Chapman. I mean, I don't know.
Tanner Scott,
anybody
Hoffman.
else. Hoffman was another name that I think was linked to the Sox earlier this offseason. Like, month
Kirby
ago.
Yates, basically the same age, also had a really good year.
I mean, my only thought is that they're trying to go into this with the whole Andrew Bailey School of Hard Knocks kind of thing, and go, he's already got swing and miss stuff. Let's see if we can maximize it even further, which maybe too much of a reach given his age and what he's already done. I don't know.
Like you said, one of the bigger issues is that when he's in a ballpark like this, we've watched him work himself into a jam more often than not in big moments. And I think that's why he's fallen out of the closer role. I don't know if he's going to I don't know if Liam Hendricks is going to be able to come off an injury and have a 35 save season. And like you were saying, you're going to need him in some of these moments. In a ballpark like Fenway, like you walk two guys and you give up a bomb, you're never out of it in Fenway already. That's already a mentality. And did not have, I don't know. I mean, Clay Holmes would have been a better fit there. You know what I mean? Like a ground ball guy. But somebody has done what he's done and had the track record. It's just, again, it's kind of a confusing move for me.
For as much crap as I gave you for Clay Holmes this year, I would have much rather had Clay Holmes. Anybody but Aroldis Chapman. Because sure. I can already see it. I can already see it in my head, and I can see it in my Twitter feed. There's going to be a picture of a ball that goes 600 feet over the green monster, and he's just going to be staring at the green monster.
Yeah.
With not a thought behind those eyes, except
he's going to look
suck.
So weird in the uniform.
Oh, it's going to be terrible. And all these people saying like, well, how Red Sox fans have to change their tune. No, majority of Red Sox fans still can't stand the guy.
Yeah.
Really can't. And like, this is not nearly to the same effect, but this is like when we got Tommy Pham. And people were like, well, Tommy Pham, how do you feel? No, still don't really like the guy. Yeah. And I was glad when he was out of there. So this is just much worse, though, because it's Aroldis Chapman. But anyway.
I feel like your franchise is just extremely tone deaf sometimes.
And we were off to such a good start, again, for the third time with this whole Soto thing. If the Red Sox are a serious contender here, you're already working in the right direction in terms of in the eyes of your fans. The PR is moving in the right direction, but then you go out and you stunt that with a signing of Aroldis Chapman. Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Didn't seem to read the room. Tone deaf, like you said.
What's a failure of an offseason in your eyes? Like a realistic failure. Obviously, you can say they don't sign anybody, and that's a failure. Duh. But a realistic, they're gonna get somebody. But what is a failed offseason for you?
Well, what did I say a few episodes ago? I think you need this isn't. I would have liked maybe a Tanner Scott, one of the big 3 arms, now 2 arms with Snell off the board, and
like a mid-level
and a
to high-level
power bat. Yeah, maybe a guy like Teoscar, but there's reports floating around now, credible or not, I'm not sure. I've looked into it. Looked at it. It seemed more pointed, so I thought that maybe there was some validity to the Teoscar to back to LA situation, because it wasn't all these people just being like, "Oh, Teoscar's going back to LA." It was like 1 or 2 reports. But a guy like Teoscar, like, give me Teoscar, give me Fried, give me Scott, and I'm okay. I'm happy. But
say you get no more bullpen arms. You get Burns, and you bring back Tyler O'Neill. How do you feel?
Not good enough.
Not good enough. So you really need a good bat plus a top 3 arm.
Well, if you're not gonna give me bullpen help, I'm gonna need a better bat. It's like those exercises, when it's like there's 3 things and it's like you can only have 2, but when you try to get that third thing, then one of the other things gives. You know what I'm talking about? It's like those sliders. It's basically like that. If you're gonna give me 0 bullpen help, then the starter that we get and the bat that we get are going to have to be on the other end of the spectrum here, like in a good way. And if you give me no bullpen and you're saying, hey, you can have Tyler O'Neill back, no.
All right. I do think Yoshida gets flipped for an arm.
I would love that.
I do think that happens somewhere.
I would love that.
It's probably after seeing what happens, the dominoes of Soto plus the 3 arms. Anyway, just curious. You need a big offseason, man. You have high expectations.
Like a month ago, this whole Soto thing wasn't even on my radar, but here we are with like multiple reports from, I think, reporters that we can trust. Not all of these reports, but some reports have made it clear that the Red Sox at the very least are in the mix, and they've extended out legitimate offers. So I'm like, all right, well, I wasn't expecting much coming into this offseason, but like if this is where we're planting our flag, like if this is the direction we're headed, then I'm gonna need to see a little bit more if the Soto thing falls through.
You just want to get into it?
Should we get into the Soto thing?
Get into the Soto thing.
Hold that thought. Just very briefly here. We'll get into the Soto thing. Your guy Hyeseong Kim was posted, and I'm not gonna lie, it still kind of throws me off when I see it.
I didn't understand. Yeah,
still throws me off. But no, if you're listening, you have no idea who we're talking about. It's not Hyeseong Kim. It's Hyeseong Kim, South Korean all-star second baseman, was posted this week and will be eligible to sign as a free agent through January 3rd.
Desperate times, folks. Desperate times. This is where we're at right now in the offseason. I'm pretty sure I read a passing tweet saying he doesn't think this will be like a big league impact player right away.
Baseball America had described it as a situation of, they said a team landing Kim will likely view him as a top or bottom of the order hitter who will hit for average and make plenty of contact from the left side, but there are concerns his lack of power could limit his impact. He's going to give you great defense. Said he's won the KBO equivalent of the Gold Glove twice at second base. But he's played roughly 1,000 games in the KBO and has just 37 home runs.
How old is this guy? 1,000 games.
26 in January.
All right. Whatever. I don't know if I have a landing spot necessarily.
To be honest with you, I didn't even know why it made headlines. Like I understand it's like a slower point of slower point in the offseason here, but I'm like, you do I mean, you just go very surface level with the numbers here, and it's like, don't we already have like a bunch of these guys in the league already that kind of fill out this?
That's what I'm saying, is that I feel like every organization has somebody in the farm that I think it's just a similar
baseball situation where anytime somebody gets posted, coming over from either Japan, South Korea, they're like,
I'd almost rather him stay put so I don't have to deal with the confusion. Names. Yeah.
I did see that he was, where is it? Was teammates with Hyeseong Kim.
Exhausting. Maybe they're used to it over there.
Hyeseong Kim. No,
maybe it's not that big of a deal.
There's no way. I mean, I'm sure they pronounce it a little bit different than us American folk, but that still would have to sound awfully similar. No?
I don't know.
That would lead to some pretty wild confusion. Speaking of confusion,
I want to put it in Google, see what it says.
See what says
in Korean. Hyeseong. S-E-O-N-G?
It's Hyeseong.
Let's make sure the volume's up. Please don't play an ad.
Welcome to this pronunciation video. Today we will be focusing on a new word that you might find challenging or intriguing. So let's dive into today's word.
Put it up to the mic.
Which means comet in Korean.
You talked over it.
So we'll put it up to the mic. Nobody can hear it.
Today's word. Hyeseong. Which
Hyeseong.
Comet in Korean.
Comet.
So let's dive into today's word. Hyeseong. Which means comet in Korean.
Hyeseong. Comet
Hyeseong.
Kim.
Comet Kim. It's not Hyeseong. It's Hyeseong.
Again.
Hey versus ha.
Well, I'm an American. He's not. They're pronouncing it right. I'm not.
Stupid redneck.
Stupid. I'm just gonna call him Comet Kim.
I like that.
That's way better.
Way better.
Way better. Comet Kim.
Super cool name.
There's a lot of potential there.
Yeah.
I can see the signs in the shirts already.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about these Juan Soto updates. The last 5 teams reportedly in the mix, according to John Heyman, which I don't take a thing that guy says seriously, but it's sort of the gist of what we're getting from everybody else. So I'm like, okay, I mean, it's not much of a stretch to say. I
couldn't be more done with John Heyman.
I'm so out on John Heyman, but
I can't stand the guy.
The guy rephrases his tweet every day. It's the same material. He just swaps a word out.
And he flip-flops on like anything that has to do with the Yankees. 2 weeks ago, he's like, yeah, I don't think they're getting him. Now he's like, I think their chances are really high. I'm so done with you. I'm so done with John Heyman. I'll take any other reporter. I'm fully out. John Heyman sucks.
He blocked me. I feel like anytime we bring up John Heyman, I need to reshare the story. He blocked me.
I forgot, so I'm happy you did.
Yeah, he blocked me because he used the word what was the word? Full-throated.
Oh yeah.
In a tweet, and I'm like, John, what is this?
That's right. That did get some headline attention.
I was like, John, I understand it's a real word and it's not a typo, but like, is there not I was like, what are we doing here?
What are you trying to say?
Yeah, what are we after here? Didn't respond to me, just blocked me straight up, and I'm like, okay, whatever. But
yeah,
he said,
there's no other way to like put that. Like it's your fault. You sounded like an idiot. We're not connecting dots that aren't.
We're not just like making things up.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, he said all 5 teams, Yankees, Mets, Dodgers, Red Sox, Jays, remain in Juan Soto Derby, and don't assume anyone's a heavy favorite. He has said very patient in his selection process. Parentheses, like his at-bats. Good one, John. But his decision is believed within days.
What?
Which is weird because I've heard
he's gonna wait it out.
I've heard
it's coming before winter meetings.
Yeah, I saw Monday at the latest. So it's like,
I'm really done.
Is he patient? Is he waiting it out? Or are we looking at Monday? Or
I'm gonna be honest,
even sooner?
I'm just over this.
I'm done with it.
I'm over the waiting it out. I'm playing it out. I'm over it.
No, you know what I'm over is every day you open up your feed, the contract estimate has gone up. Ken Rosenthal said today
it's like 1.3 billion.
he could see it at 15 years, 750 million. What are we doing? What? Just give him $1 billion and get it over with. Like, if this is where we're headed, like if we're already surpassing Ohtani's contract, and please, people in the comments, spare me on the age thing. I understand that Soto is significantly younger than Ohtani. That's not the point. The reason I brought up the comparison between Soto and Ohtani and that quote graphic that has seemingly gone viral on Instagram, people either strongly agree or can't stand a word that I say, apparently. The reason I said that is I said we're pushing Ohtani money with a guy that is not going to blow you away with his speed, can't play defense.
I'm with you.
And I said that people just lost their minds. And I'm like, this has nothing to do with age. This is looking at what Ohtani can do, assuming he pitches this year, which he's slated to do. And not to mention, you look at the income, or not the income, but the economy and we talked about that last time we talked to Ohtani. Just the economy that he brought over with Japan. It's common business sense that a guy, regardless if Soto is 6 years younger, it doesn't matter. You're bringing over an entire economy, and you're like the unicorn of baseball. So the fact that we're talking about a guy like Juan Soto, as good as he is, as much of a generational talent as he is, the fact that we're now talking about him earning more money.
Yeah.
Like it was pushing Ohtani money. Now the estimate, according to Ken Rosenthal, is more money, $750 million.
And we've talked about it. He has attributes that don't play well when you start getting to a certain age. When you get above 32, 33, he's already slow now. I'm not saying he's not slow. He's definitely not fast. Defense is slightly below average. It's not going to get better. So in reality, like, I see this as Stanton all over again, but with potentially less power down the road. We're talking year 10, 12.
More like athletic.
That power is going to go down. The ABs are going to remain the same.
Yeah.
I think his eye is going to be his eye. Like, he's always going to have good ABs. He's always going to walk. He's always going to spray it all over the field. I'm not saying he's going to be a bad hitter. But you can't expect the same numbers. You know what I mean? Like, I understand what Ohtani's getting because his attributes are still there. He's older and he's still doing things more athletically, more impressively. With an entire country bringing their market as far as viewership goes and merchandise goes. So it's silly to me, man. It's silly. But I can see it now. It's January 15th. New offer is he won't sign until there's a statue outside of the stadium, and Steve Cohen steps down from ownership and he now steps in as owner player. And Golden Rule has now gone into effect, and he gets to hit 6 times a game, having 750 at-bats every season. And he makes a Billy. That's my new prediction. Ken Rosenthal. Kind of out on you too, by the way.
Yeah, I think it's like that Simpsons meme with the guy that's in the shadow just smoking the cigarette. That's Jeff Passan. He's just waiting. He's just
freaking
waiting.
love Jeff Passan. He is the GOAT.
You know,
he's the GOAT.
I have my thoughts on Jeff Passan at times, but at the end of the day, I
got nervous when
he does his job well.
The Woj guy from the NBA.
Oh yeah, he stepped down.
Took the GM job somewhere.
Thought we might lose
which is
Passan.
Crazy because they were like, I think we're going to steal Passan. I was like, for a drowning NBA, that product sucks. No shot. You tried to put on an NBA game recently? It's horrendous.
I've heard nothing but terrible things about this cup thing that they were doing.
Horrendous.
What is that? What is this, NASCAR?
It's some mid-season cup, and they paint all their courts. So when you turn a game on now, it's like,
Oh, I saw that too.
it looks
atrocious.
like a colorful backgammon board. It looks insane.
That's what baseball is headed for, Manfred ball. Just you hold on tight. All right. Well, that brings us to maybe a new segment that I think we're gonna introduce here. Do you want to give the people the rundown here as to what we're doing? And the reason I transitioned from what we just talked about is because this is relevant. This is a relevant quote I pulled. So go ahead and share with the people what we're doing here.
We are going back in the archives. We are digging deep into the receipts and picking out quotes. One of us have said something in the past. Maybe it's crazy. Maybe it's on point. More often than not, it's going to be wrong. But either way, we're going to pull these quotes out and maybe just do a little research based on that. So the inaugural guess that quote. Hit me with it.
You ready for it?
I'm ready.
Whose quote was this? Whose quote was this? Who said it? Whether it tastes like milk, whether it tastes like wine, we have to find out. Who said it? Was it Kyle or Nate? 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 Whose quote was this?
Love that.
How about that?
That's huge.
You like that?
Is that AI made?
No, that was me in my garage.
I knew it.
All right. Guess that quote. It's a little relevant. Like I said, I didn't go for a super edgy one. We'll get into some weird quotes.
Not as edgy as that song.
Preach. We've said some weird things over the years, but
Which we'll get to.
So we'll get to. Let's start with one of those a little more relevant. All right.
Yeah.
Who said this? Was it me or you? Yeah, this is, I don't like giving too much praise too early, but Juan Soto is doing things at his age that no one's ever done. He's on pace to be incredible, truly incredible. And so I don't even know if generational talent is a sufficient description. I think it's bigger than that. I think this is possibly a monumental player, but it's kind of a catch-22, right? If they spend $500 million on him to stick around, how much money do they have to build around him, right? So that's got to be part of the thought process for Soto as well. Is that okay? Well, if I do get my dream contract and I stay put, do they have enough pieces that are going to be able to support me? Do they have enough money to get those pieces? Both of those seem like a no. This was from episode 282 of the 3 Take.
What was the
going
date
back
on that?
to May 19th, 2022, the episode titled Pay Juan Soto $1 billion.
Look at us. Look at us. Oh. Hit the nail on the head with the quote. Still,
How about that?
that still holds up.
How about that?
I'd say based on the song lyrics, that aged like wine. I think I said it. Yeah.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah.
You nailed it. That was May of 2022. And I think
Was that?
maybe sarcastically. I'd have to go back and hear the tone of your voice when you said that, or just the tone of the conversation when we were talking about that. But we were probably exaggerating a little bit with, we're just throwing around $500 million. And here we are talking about $750 million.
Yeah.
2 years later.
Here we are, potentially $150-200 million off. That's ridiculous. Analyzing it a little bit, I think I think it still holds up because this is my entire argument for any Yankees fans that really want him more than anything. Is that they're not in a perfect spot if they do pull this off. And they don't have enough money to continue to field a team around him. In my mind, there's really only, well, it depends on the structure, but probably one or two teams that can pull that off. So I think it holds up. I wonder what that was for. Why were we so randomly in on May 19th? Did he do something on May 18th? Did he just do something insane? Was it like a 3 home run game?
22. Would that have been when he got the offer from the Nationals?
That could make sense. What was May 19th, 2022? What day of the week was that?
Oh, you know what? This may have been, I think this was.
Was it Thursday?
That's yeah, I think that is what we were talking about. That's when he rejected the $440 million extension by the Nationals during 20. Yeah, that's exactly what that was about.
In May?
Yeah, because it was coming up to the trade deadline. And a couple months
How much
out
did
from
he turn down?
from the trade deadline. 15,440. And I think our whole thing was like, oh, Juan Soto deserves more than that, but not 750,
Yeah. No. I think 600 is, I mean, trust me, there's definitely numbers that are much lower that I think are adequate for human beings, but
in terms of value,
yeah, I think 600 is enough. Let's just call it there. Good first quote. Good
That's
first
fair.
quote.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
a good
you.
pull.
Appreciate it.
It's a good pull.
Very timely.
Great song. How's the throat? You okay? You were wailing. You were getting after it.
Yeah, that was definitely me for sure. No,
Yeah.
definitely. You want to run it back just one more time since it made its
Let
debut?
people know. Yeah, I like
You
that.
want to run it back? All right.
Yeah.
Whose quote was this? Whose quote was this? Who said it? Whether it tastes like milk, whether it tastes like wine, we have to find out. Who said it? Was it Kyle or Nate? 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 Whose quote was this?
I'm looking forward
RIP to anyone wearing AirPods, I'm sure.
I'm looking forward to playing that. I am looking forward to playing that.
That's a good one. Now
all
I'm
right.
up. I'm up next week. I'll
You
find
got the
something.
quote, and I'll have to guess
Big
whose
fan.
quote was this. Somebody said, "What Creed album?" is that?" Yep, no, that's definitely Creed. That is definitely Creed for sure. That was me. That was Creed featuring me. I was there when they recorded that actually.
Yeah.
All right, let's call it there. Let's get out of there. We'll see you guys Monday. Barring any, I sure hope nothing happens over the weekend. If the whole Monday thing for Soto is true, talk about perfect timing. We'll just record later that night, but if not, we'll play it by ear, I guess. You may catch a surprise little emergency pod. I don't know.
You heard what's going to happen. It's going to be January 15th, and the statue's halfway done.
For $1 billion.
Yeah. In a new
right.
ownership spot.
Looking forward to it.
Don't go chasing curveballs, guys.
We love you all, and as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.